have a lot of modern women will look at celebrities as role models, as operating in the way that we wish that we could operate or that we hope to one day operate. And here I think is one of the primary issues is again, we have to recognize that when we're looking at celebrities, we're looking at women who are in a completely different class. And everybody, I'm sure everybody listening to this, even modern women who flock to celebrity television shows and networks, I'm sure they know this in a basic level. But as far as recognizing how that actually translates into day-to-day life, there's a disconnect. For example, if you're a celebrity, that means you have access to all kinds of healthcare. That means, God forbid, let's say you do decide to find yourself. For example, I can use Lori Harvey. Let's just say, God forbid, and I'm not saying this is the case, but let's just say, God forbid, she did say, okay, for the next year, I'm just going to sleep around with a different guy every single week. And then she picked up STDs in the process. Again, I'm not saying this is what's happening. I'm just using as an example. Somebody like her, she has the money and the resources and the access to healthcare that, God forbid, if she gets in a situation where she's in a bind and she catches, some STDs or whatever kind of virus, she can go to the doctor. She can find somebody to help her get over it. It's not going to be an issue. She has access to good healthcare. She's going to have access to good nutrition. She's going to have access to the doctors, the people who are essentially going to make sure that her health is in tip-top shape, no matter what condition she's in, so that even if she does catch something, she can quickly recover. This is the Cardi B's, the Meg Thee Stallions, even the Ciaras, all these women who promote a party girl lifestyle, who promote this kind of free, I can go with my girls and do whatever I want. I can twerk at the gas station. I can twerk on the middle of the street. I can twerk at Walmart. I can twerk at a funeral. I can twerk while I'm pregnant in front of everybody on top of people. Like it's nothing. I can do that. And then I can still go home and live a normal, wholesome life. They have the luxury to do that because they are celebrities in a completely different class with access to different money, access to different resources that most average people don't have. And also, by the way, they're promoting a brand. We know sex sells. So again, the issue is that when women look at that and they use that as a role model, whether they even know that they're doing it consciously. I think some of these women are not even fully aware that this is happening on a subconscious level because this programming has been happening over the last few decades. Nevertheless, we look at those women as examples. We follow them. We like what they say. We look at when they're, what they're wearing, where they're vacationing, who they're dating. We follow them because deep down inside, we want their lifestyle, or because we see their lifestyle as something to aspire to. And so we look at them and forget that they have different resources. They have different access to things. Again, they have a whole different scenario. So a celebrity can literally afford financially to have a hot girl summer and get every single STD under the sun and have the finances and the resources to maintain it and to still be healthy and recover. But the reality is Kiki from the block, from the corner, who does nails, every other day, has a little nail business, maybe sells some bundles. She may make a pretty basic living to handle her bills, but God forbid something happens. God forbid she gets some form of an illness or sickness that will require ongoing care. Does Kiki's nails, does she have an insurance policy? Does she have health care insurance? Does she have those things necessary that, God forbid, she got something like that, she could actually maintain it? And what we see when we actually start to look at the data and we look at STDs and who is more impacted by that, of course, it's the Black community. And it's not, even the reports say, it's not necessarily just because Black folks go around having a whole bunch more sex than other people. It's not that. It's not that the sexual behavior is incredibly different than, per se, other ethnicities. But there's a reality of the fact that there is an income disparity, and there's a lot of Black women who don't have access to ongoing quality health care. This is real life. So I were over here promoting hot girl summer and casual sex and delaying marriage and focusing on our career. Your average rank and file Black woman is, maybe she's working at a warehouse, maybe she's working at a grocery store. I mean, And this is no shade to nobody, but it's like the grocery stores I go to, I see a ton of Black women working at grocery stores. I see a lot of them. And like I said, this is no judgment. But again, if you're working at a grocery store, let's say you work at Whole Foods or you work at a Safeway, this is it's an honest living. But how is the healthcare? how are the healthcare benefits? And so again, those are the kinds of realities that I wish we could talk about. You could talk about those women, the Ciaras of the world, the Cardi B's of the world, the Lori Harveys of the world. They have enough money to screw around, to even screw their bodies and to get diseases and to have the healthcare to maintain it. Most Black women do not. Unless you're working at like a really good corporate job or something stable or full time, then there's no guarantee. And even if you are working at corporate, a lot of times you gotta worry about copay and all that kind of different stuff. So that's not even a guarantee that everything's going to be covered. But this is a real reality of what's going on. And the issue is that you have women of a different class. A lot of Black women are at the poverty line, even below the poverty line. And then you add single parent households. You ask how many of those are on one income managing kids. The income even goes lower. Those are the kind of women sometimes that'll look at that and identify with a Lori Harvey or identify with a Ciara because she's a Black woman or because they like the way she acts or because they like to twerk. But they're in a different class and they don't have the resources. So God forbid they try to do a hot girl summer for just one little weekend. They get an STD. Do they have the resources to now maintain that? And what we see based upon the data is that a lot of women, and this is not just women too, this is women and men, but I'm focusing on women now because this is a femininity channel, right? A lot of women find themselves in that situation and not necessarily having the healthcare or having the resources to maintain it. And this is probably one of many reasons you see us leading when it comes to STDs in a lot of different capacities. Not necessarily just because we're having an insane or a lot more sex than other ethnic groups. But a lot of it, as far as why it's spreading, as far as why the cases persist, is because people just don't have access to healthy, good health care. And again, like I said, if you got women in the lower class buying into the ideas of women in the upper class, the top, 5%, the celebrity class, this is the kind of stuff that does us in. And nobody wants to talk about it. We just want to sit around and talk about, manifest your dream and your destiny and start a business and write a book and you're going to get all the money in the world and then you're not going to have any problems. And listen, I'm all for women going and pursuing whatever's in their heart. You have a dream you want to pursue, nothing wrong with that. If you have a book you want to write, like I said, I don't have anything, I don't see no issues with that. But I'm saying so often these kinds of conversations are said, I think, just based upon the idea. They're said based upon what seems right or what we wish was true. But we're not always bringing into account what is. And if you're talking about faith, but you're not looking at reality, then it's fantasy. If you're talking about, living by faith, but you're actually you're not at the same time acknowledging reality, then you're just living in fantasy. Because you have to first acknowledge what is. You have to first acknowledge the situation before we can even start talking about how you can move into faith. And again, I use that because I see women talking about faith and manifestation and manifest your destiny and all these words that we kind of use to dance around some of these bigger issues that are happening systematically and just individually for women who find themselves in the scenarios. But this is what's happening. This is what's happening.